What if carrying a firearm didn't require a permit anymore? Well, that just became reality. In a groundbreaking 9-0 decision, the Supreme Court has made a dramatic move that will reshape the future of gun laws in America. The court's ruling has effectively wiped out the system of requiring permits to carry firearms across the country. And, in a stunning twist, the Department of Justice has thrown its support behind the decision. This isn't just a legal ruling, it's a major shift in how we view gun rights. A shift that could completely change the landscape of our laws and the way we think about the Second Amendment. The DOJ and several states have now signaled their backing for this monumental change, and what's coming next might be even more surprising. Welcome to Winds of Thought, the channel where we break down complex legal issues with clarity and insight. Today, we're diving deep into this historic ruling and unpacking its far-reaching consequences. Let's explore what's happening and what's at stake. Chapter 1. The Fall of the Permit Wall. For over a century, carrying a firearm has been conditional upon receiving permission from the state. Whether concealed or open carry, a permit was a requirement. But in a sweeping move, the highest court in the land has ruled that this system may be fundamentally unconstitutional. The Supreme Court's ruling has clarified something crucial. The right to carry doesn't come after bureaucratic approval. It begins with the Constitution. The decision dismantles the systems of delay, tax, and arbitrary approval, which have long undermined the core of the Second Amendment, the right that shall not be infringed. This could be a turning point for gun laws in America, and the ripple effects are already being felt across the country. Chapter 2. DOJ's Unexpected Support. Here's the real shocker. The Department of Justice is not fighting this decision. For years, the DOJ has consistently opposed any rulings that expanded Second Amendment rights. Yet, in this case, they've chosen not to challenge the Supreme Court's ruling. This shift marks a significant departure from the DOJ's usual stance. Internal documents have revealed that the DOJ had serious doubts about the constitutionality of the permit system. Their silence is a clear message, one that signals a new chapter in how the federal government will approach gun laws moving forward. What does this mean for states that still have permit systems in place? It's an open question, but one thing is clear: the federal government is no longer an obstacle. Chapter 3. Blue States Panic. The states most affected by this ruling are the ones with the strictest gun control laws: California, New York, and Illinois. These states are now scrambling to find ways to defend their permit-based systems, which have long been a cornerstone of their gun control strategies. California's may-issue system, where local authorities have discretion over who can carry a firearm, has effectively been rendered obsolete. New York's stringent concealed carry laws are now under immediate threat. And Illinois, which has already been through multiple legal battles over its gun laws, is facing a new wave of challenges. The landscape in these blue states is shifting rapidly, and they'll need to find new ways to regulate firearms without violating the court's ruling. Chapter 4. The Collapse of the Permit Industry. There's a $1 billion industry built around permits. Application fees, training programs, background checks, certification renewals, and more. But with this Supreme Court decision, that entire system is starting to crumble. Across the country, businesses that relied on permit systems are seeing revenue dry up. CCW instructors are facing cancellations, and gun control organizations that once fought to expand permit systems are now struggling to keep the status quo alive. The system that once required permission is being replaced with one that recognizes rights. And this is a monumental shift that will have financial and political repercussions for years to come. Chapter 5. States react quickly. Some states are already making moves to implement the ruling. Florida has announced plans to drop concealed carry permit requirements by the end of the year, and other states like Texas and Montana are swiftly expanding constitutional carry into new areas. Tennessee has issued guidance declaring that local permit requirements are now void under the new interpretation of the Second Amendment. These states aren't just responding. They're preparing for a future where the right to carry is no longer in question. They're making sure that their laws align with the new constitutional reality. Chapter 6. Chaos for Law Enforcement. One of the biggest challenges now facing the country is law enforcement agencies across the nation are stuck in a legal limbo. Some departments are still enforcing permit requirements, while others have been forced to halt enforcement altogether due to the new ruling. The tension between state policies, local enforcement, and federal law is creating confusion for police officers and sheriffs, who are now being asked to navigate an uncertain legal landscape. What happens when local law enforcement refuses to enforce a law that's been struck down at the federal level? It's a question that will play out in courts and communities across the country. Chapter 7. Gun control groups respond. The fight isn't over. Gun control organizations like Everytown for Gun Safety and Giffords are already mobilizing, launching PR campaigns, raising funds, and lobbying for new measures to circumvent the ruling. But these efforts face a tough road ahead, as many of the restrictions they propose would likely be struck down by the courts. California and New York are pushing proposals to reclassify more areas as sensitive and off-limits for firearms, in an attempt to carve out exceptions to the ruling. However, as we've seen time and again, laws that conflict with the court's interpretation of the Second Amendment don't stand up for long. Chapter 8. A historical shift. This ruling is more than just a legal decision. It's part of a broader shift in how the Second Amendment is being interpreted. It builds on past rulings like Heller and MacDonald, which affirmed the individual right to bear arms, and continues the trend set by the Bruin decision in 2022. We're witnessing the end of an era where anti-gun groups hoped they could slowly erode Second Amendment protections. Now, with this ruling, the court has clearly stated that individual rights cannot be overridden by modern political preferences. Chapter 9. What's next? The road ahead won't be easy. There will be lawsuits, new legal battles, and likely more clashes between state and federal authorities. The fight to protect or reinstate permit systems will continue in blue states, and we can expect more legal challenges to restrictions on where firearms can be carried. But this is just the beginning. The map of America's gun laws is beginning to shift, and we'll be here to cover every change, every ruling, and every move in real time. We're witnessing a historic change in American gun rights. If you believe this ruling is a win for freedom, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. Let's get this conversation started. Wines of Thought is your go-to source for real-time updates on issues that matter. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay free. See you in the next one.